Starting us off at number 10 is 666. In the 2001 book titled Science Askew, it claims that Barney actually contained a chronogram of the number of the beast 666. Barney is most popularly described as a cute purple dinosaur. However, the book points out how the Latin alphabet uses the letter V in place of the letter U, thus making that sentence C vute purple dinosaur, obviously with V's instead of U's. And if you take out all the letters that don't represent any Roman numerals, you're legit left with CVVLDIV, and those numerals are 100, 5, 550, 500, 1 and 5, and when you add all of them together you get 666. So is Barney the Beast the book of Revelation talks about and not the cute purple dinosaur people know and love? Possibly. I'm not ruling anything out, people. I'm just not gonna do it. Coming in at number 9 is Barney's theme song, Backwards. This one really gave me the creeps, you guys. Now, everyone knows the theme song to Barney, right? The one that goes, Barney is a dinosaur from our imagination, and when he's tall, it's what we call a dinosaur sensation, etc. That was a pretty good a cappella version if I do say so myself. I'll stick around after the video to sign some autographs for you guys. Anyway, if you play that backwards, it translates to Barney so gentle, we sleep with him, we're making out with him, we do revenge and suffer while he's mocking us. Yeah, that's not okay. How is that even real? Someone please call the FBI on Barney because that's not safe. And if you don't believe me, literally try playing it backwards yourself and you'll find out. Straight facts, bro. I ain't lying to you. At number 8, we have verbal abuse. This theory suggests that Barney was verbally abusive to the kids working with him on the show. There are many rumors flying around that Barney was very rude and disrespectful to all the kids because the costume the actor wore was over 70 pounds and the temperature could get up to over 120 degrees Fahrenheit, and you couldn't even take the head off to have a break. So I mean, I completely understand that you would be very tired and grumpy, that's fully valid, but there's no reason to be verbally abusive to the children when they literally did nothing to you. It's not their fault you have to wear that. It's yours. Barney had over 8 different costume portrayals from 1988 to 2007, and people think this is because no one could control their temper on set and that the performers would continually just take their anger out on the kids. They've been through so much. Filling at number 7 slot, we have the serial killer. Apparently lovable, kid-friendly Barney over here was actually based off of a 1930s serial killer. A rumor has been floating around the web that back in the 30s, a man by the name of Barney would dress up every day in a dinosaur costume and go to his neighborhood playground and lure kids to him. His bright dinosaur costume would intrigue the kids who would then get distracted from their parents, and then Barney would just kidnap them. I mean, kids get distracted by anything honestly, so that wasn't probably that hard to do. Barney would then force the children to be happy, otherwise he would kill them. That's very dark and morbid. Okay, honestly, personally, I never liked Barney. It was always on TV when I was little, but like I was just like, I'm too cool for this, I'm too old for this, I'm not gonna watch Barney. Look at me, I'm 5. Now at number 6 are preteens versus toddlers. This theory suggested that preteens are forced to act like toddlers on set. In almost every Barney episode, there are new kids that come and play with Barney, including some famous faces including Demi Lovato, Selena Gomez, Madison Pettis, and Debbie Ryan. The children on the show seem to be between the ages of 9 to 12, but people have theorized that the kids were forced to act like they were between 2 to 4 years old. They play games and speak in ways that make them seem more than half their age, and I actually fully agree with this one. People think it's a very strange thing to watch kids play with blocks, count to 10, and sing the ABCs when they're 12 years old. They're definitely not acting age appropriately, and that might confuse young viewers. This whole thing is just a very unrealistic concept in and of itself, but I do understand that it is way harder to cast toddlers to play actual toddlers, mostly because they're like, don't know how to speak. Coming in at number 5 is Barney's Campfire song. Now many of us remember the VHS special Barney's Campfire sing-along where Barney and friends all go camping together. It was the 5th video in the Barney in the Backyard Gang series and was originally released in 1990. Within the 40-minute special, all is well until they start looking into this dark cave. Many kids remember this creepy looking bear that comes out of the cave because it literally traumatized many of them and gave them nightmares, and I don't blame them. Have you seen that bear? First off, the bear's mouth doesn't even move, his face is tinted red, his eyes are way too big, his smile is way too small, and those creepy pajamas just, I can't even. Let alone all this creepy music playing on top of it all, it just doesn't feel right. This is a children's show, people, what are we doing? Is this Barney's arch nemesis that was deemed too dark for daytime TV? No clue, but let's just never see that bear again, shall we? Okay. deal. At number 8 is Barney's drug addiction. Clearly no one is safe from the drugs, guys, except you guys. Don't do drugs. People have speculated that one of the actors that played Barney was actually a severe cocaine addict. The theory is that he was so addicted that he started stashing lots of cocaine up in Barney's tail during the filming of the show. During this time, the actor was very angry and aggressive and started swearing at the children. The behind-the-scenes crew of Barney got very suspicious of his behavior, and he eventually got caught, got fired, and then was sent to jail. And of course, Barney had to be recast once again. Damn, no one likes the kids on set. I don't know, I'm laughing, it's kind of funny. Filling at number 3 slot is the Illuminati. This theory states that Illuminati created the character Barney to be able to kidnap as many children as they could. Because clearly Beyonce and Jay-Z just weren't enough for them. The Illuminati was able to make an entire franchise filled with Barney-themed birthdays, lines and lines of Barney toys, and market it to be one of the biggest and well-known children's television shows of all time. Illuminati know that if the children liked this trustworthy dinosaur, it would become a safe haven and a sensational hit amongst children aged 1 to 6. After developing many successful seasons and VHS specials of the successful brand, they used the casting of the children to secretly kidnap the smartest and most enthusiastic ones without anyone getting suspicious. My only bout with this theory is clearly people were suspicious. I'm sure the parents were like, where are our kids? Surely. Now at number 2 is the original Barney. There is a theory out there that discusses the fact that people don't know what happened to the first ever Barney. David Voss, the actor that played Barney in Barney in the Backyard Gang in 1988, was so overworked and exhausted since he was spending hundreds of hours a week on set running around with children that he had enough. Not to mention, hello, the suit weighs a lot. You can't breathe in there. And he was also unaware that there was barely any room to breathe in the costume since they didn't tell them that before they hired him. He was constantly complaining of the pain and stress he was under and that no one on set really cared about it. The actor was so depressed that he ended up taking his own life on set while still inside the Barney costume. That's very sad, but I also hope for the next actor they did change the costume, because I feel like that's A, disrespectful, B, just very creepy. Finally, at number 1 is Barney's Dark Truth. This next one comes from Reddit user Beauty Goddess 101, and she shared that during the original Barney in the Backyard Gang that aired from 1988 to 91, Barney says during a theme song that he lives with all the kids, however Tiny and Lucy say that they're sisters. This kind of implies that they're all from separate families, especially because they've had the kids' parents on the show and they were all different people. But during the theme song, the lyrics say, but mom has never seen it because she doesn't know our secret, meaning that the kids are either foster siblings or in an orphanage, and they are having a very difficult time dealing with being taken away from their homes and their families. They would probably be too young to understand why they live with strangers and are not allowed to go home, and why this purple dinosaur is raising them. That would be my first question. And that Barney is actually this imaginary friend they've made up in an attempt to have someone that loves and cares about them. Now every day in the theme song they sing that Barney is a dinosaur from our imagination, as well as the I love you song is like a promise or oath they take to reassure each other that they are loved and wanted, and that even though they aren't a family by blood, they are still a family. Starting us off at number 10 is the Lost episode. Now, there's an article written online about this ominous lost episode of Barney. A father of 2 3-year-old boys saw on the TV guide that there was a lost episode of Barney that was only going to be played once at 7 p.m. that night. So with that being said, the boys were so excited to watch their favorite show, so they got their popcorn ready and sat down on the couch. As the clock struck 7 p.m, the Barney and Friends theme song started playing, but something was just a little off. The father describes how he could quietly hear creepy whispering during the theme song music. He shrugged it off and the episode began playing like it always does, and if you've seen the show, you know that the episode starts off with a doll version of Barbie that soon comes to life. So this all happens as normal until Barney comes to life and starts giggling like crazy, kind of like maniacally. Barney didn't sound like himself, it was as if 2 people were talking at once, one with a normal voice and one with a deep demonic one. Then Barney says, "Hi kids, today I'm gonna teach you about death." One of the kids says to Barney, "What's death, Barney?" And Barney says in a deep voice, "This is." And his face turns red, his teeth grow long, and then he just eats the child. He then starts chasing the other children around and eating them until the episode is over. I mean, if this video doesn't ruin your childhood, that first point probably did. Coming in at number 9 is the reptilian conspiracy. Now, many conspiracy theorists believe that there is an alien reptilian race amongst humans, and those people are able to disguise themselves as humans, and that they've managed to get themselves to very important positions of power. Now, do I believe this? No. Is that outlandish? Yes. Now, having said that, this theory claims that the US government is in touch with aliens that are reptilian in nature and that they have corrupted people on Earth and are planning on taking over the world. These same people believe a show like Barney that shows reptiles in a positive light are just attempts by the government aliens to brainwash kids. Because I mean, most humans don't like reptiles. I mean, a lot of them do, but a lot of them don't. And I mean, he is a T-Rex, so technically he's not even a reptile. At number 8, we have pedophilia. So this one is dark, but given that Barney is a dinosaur that plays with a lot of kids, it was bound to show up eventually. His songs are always to do with loving the kids and kissing the kids, and he's usually just the only adult around. So obviously some skeptics see Barney as more of a pedophilic character. He's billions of years old, he loves the kids, one could argue too much, and based off a theory in part 1, he could have kidnapped these kids. Why else do they rarely ever get to see their parents? He wants to be their one and only. Filling our number 7 slot is the bad influence. According to a user in a debate of whether or not Barney should be boycotted, the purple dinosaur is a menace and a bad influence. MinMax123 theorized that society has no idea how much harm the show has actually done. Barney and friends teach children that you can do potentially harmful things and get away with it. In various episodes, kids on the show have been caught stealing, lying, cheating, catching dangerous insects, and more. And obviously the impressionable audience of the show could easily think that doing that in real life is okay too. And I mean, they're not wrong. That is what the show is encouraging. Now, at number 6 is All Rainbows and Butterflies. Now, the show gained notoriety for being liked by any second grader you ask and for its over-positive to the point of one-dimensional episodes. The show is unhealthy and doesn't educate kids properly, despite being marketed as an educational, optimistic show. According to Ted Gianolis, Barney doesn't teach kids how to deal with any sort of negative emotions or feelings. The show just flat out denies the concept even exists. It doesn't recognize the existence of unpleasant realities. And I mean, yes, it does emphasize unconditional love, which is great. It also shows kids that society is one where everything has to be fixed at once and that everyone is always happy, which is not true from any angle. We have people out here beating each other up for bread, people. Trust no one. Coming in at number 5 are Drugs Part 1. Now, in Part 1 of the series, we found out that one of the actors that played Barney was a drug addict that was found with coke stashed inside his costume. And I guess that inspired the train of drug-related Barney incidents that followed. Back in 1988, a drug-sniffing dog found 2 pounds of cocaine hidden inside a talking Barney doll in Texas. It was being shipped to Minnesota, and so police officers went to the address and ended up arresting 3 people for drug dealing. 3 years later, 4 members of a family in Charleston were arrested and pled guilty to conspiring to sell cocaine as well as other drugs after they were all found in another Barney doll. I'm guessing they were thinking, hey, if the big purple dinosaur does it, why can't I? And no, those weren't even the worst stories. There are more. At number 4 are Drugs Part 2. Get ready for the monstrosity that is this story. Back in 2004, in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, police officers found $2,000 stuffed inside a Barney doll. 13 grams of coke were also found inside another doll. More than 30 grams were found in a flower pot. And then they found weed in the dresser drawer. The apartment belonged to a family that included 5 children. And in a plot twist turn of events, it was their grandma and mum's boyfriend that ended up getting arrested and charged with possession and distribution. The kids were obviously taken from the family and went into the system. Oh, Barney, oh no, what is you doing? Filling on number 3 slot is Love Breeds Hate. I honestly have the ending song ingrained in my brain. I love you, you love me, we're a happy family with a great big hug and a kiss from me to you. Won't you say you love me too? I don't know why I had to do the whole thing. We could have just added a clip in, but you guys know I love my a cappella covers. Well, according to many people, the song didn't breed love, it breeded hate. Does anyone remember singing the really messed up version of the song as a kid, or was it just me? It was like, I hate you, you hate me, let's go out and kill Barney with a baseball bat and a 4x4, no more purple dinosaur. See, I personally only sung up until the kill Barney part. The kids that went past that were just psychopaths. They are psychopaths today. Now, at number 2 is David Joyner Part 1. Now, usually not many people care about who's behind the mask or costume in the situation, and normally I'd be like, fair enough, but however, this mask needs to come off. Mask off. Mask off. David Joyner played Barney for 10 years from 1991 to 2001. He claims that his family is full of people with psychic and clairvoyant abilities and that he had a dream about getting the role before he even auditioned. But that ability saved him and let him meet Barney for a few more months. According to David, he had to attend an event in Boston days before 9/11 happened. His flight got delayed, and so the airline gave him vouchers for his return trip, meaning he could decide which flight to go back on. He wanted to switch his flight from being on the 10th of September to being on the 11th, and the airline staff told him the United Airlines Flight 175 had open seating. With that information, he went to bed and woke up in the middle of the night with this feeling that a voice was speaking to him, telling him to keep his original flight. When the 11th did come around, David got a page from his manager telling him to turn his TV on. And when he did, he saw that the second plane was about to crash into the Trade Center, and that was the United Airlines 175 flight. How eerie is that? And finally, at number 1 is David Joyner Part 2. After he stopped being Barney, he became a Tantra massage specialist and spiritual healer, which I mean is great, do you. David charges $350 for a 4-hour session, and weirdly enough, only accepts female clients and refers to them all as goddesses. Getting a bit creepy now. Then I found out the sessions aren't just Tantra massages, they're Tantra massages that end in happy endings to keep it PG. He also admitted that he refused to ever wear protection since that blocks the energy. Tantra experts say that sex isn't even a necessary part of the practice, it's only about connecting with others, yourself, and nature. So David, what are you even doing?